Picking up, I'm going to bring up my groom brush, so you can bring up your brush menu, hit G. I'm just going to get the groom 1 here. Yeah, you can get various strengths and ways to work. I'm going to turn this to Z sub, or you can try Z add. Yeah, sometimes this works, sometimes it's not. The other thing I've done is I've set my radial, I've set it to radial symmetry with a lot of repeats on it, so you can do that with transform, turn on activate symmetry. In my case, I'm looking down the Z axis of this thing, and I've turned on the radial symmetry here, and then I've turned my radial count to 16, so that whatever I do here will be updated throughout this thing. And I'm just going to try pushing that a little bit. Let's undo that, see what it does. Okay, and redo. Actually, I think it's better the way it was. Let's see what happens here. Do a little bit, just kind of move my way around this thing. Just trying to roll those over. Hard to get those ones on the outside. Okay, that's looking better. All right, that's got them rolled over, and I could probably delete the ones on the outside there. So I'm just going to switch back to my standard brush. It might be easier to see those with the tube hidden. Yeah. See how these are mostly all gone out there. A few little stragglers there. So I'm just going to hold Control Shift and Alt and drag around those. Get that. And this works with symmetry, so it makes it a little easier. Really just drag to right up in there, and that should get most of them. Yeah. And then I can come down to geometry and modify topology and delete hidden. And now let's see what we get when we render this. Go to P here. Hang on, got a call. Let me pause for just a second. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, let's see what this looks like with a render. And yeah, it looks good, nice and rolled over there. Let's pull the tube back up, and maybe want to do a little bit of adjusting on it. Actually, let's adjust the fibers first, and we'll go to transform and set the pivot to get those moved. Yeah, so we're equal on both ends of that. And now I can switch to the tube and get my draw tool, and let's turn it out in that way and that direction. Make sure it is centered. Yep. And hold down Shift and just scale that in a bit. May not be exactly perfect, but it's pretty close. Actually, let's make sure that it is. Let's go to transform and set it. Ooh, not that. Yeah, and if I need to, just do a slight. Oop, that's scaling it. I want to move it there. A little bit of a nudge. So, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Let's go back to perspective. Give it a quick render. Yep, looks just fine. So what I'll want to do now is, if you want to change colors on those, you could use paint. There's lots of, or you could do the, you could change it here, change the material. There's all kinds of things that you could do with it. But what I want to do is create a new one. Another thing that I've noticed is happening, and let's go back to, let's turn on our floor here and take a look at this thing. Let's go to render, and let's turn shadows back on, and we'll just BPR it real quick, and you see that it's taking quite a bit longer to render. There we go. And we're getting these kind of very black, very hard shadows on it. So I'm going to pull up the render palette here. So take those out and let's go to render and dock it over here. So what I want to do is take a look at shadows under BPR shadows. So first of all, I want to take my shadow map resolution down to 512. I really don't need very much on it. I may want to take that back up to 24, and we'll take raise way down, all the way down to 1, and we'll take blur to 6 here. That'll add a little bit of edge blur to the shadows, and I'm going to take my floor shadow strength. You notice my global shadow strength here is at 0.75, so I'm going to make my floor shadow match that, so 0.75. And then I'm not going to worry about fall off or distance or any of that. If you hold down control over these, not really getting any information there. Distance, fall off, shadow control, how quick the transition, you know, if you have fall off on, but I don't have any fall off on, so let's see if we can turn some on, make it no. All right, so I'm not going to worry about it. But now I'm going to BPR render, and we'll see that we get, takes it a little bit longer, but you know, we get softer shadows out here. That's still looking a little bit too dark on there, so and a little bit grainy, so I may want to take the shadow map to 1024, and let's take the strength down to, let's try half, 0.5, and now let's see what we get. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. Yeah, a little bit crisper on there, but still enough to blur out. May want to actually turn the blur up just a bit. Let's try 8, and not as heavy a shadow on there. This I think looks fine because it's kind of inside. Another thing to notice is that I'm getting this faceting in here, because this if I hide the piece there, you know, see this is not a very high res piece here. It's 8,000 polys, but I can help that out with let's do Shift F, turn that off. I can come back to my BPR settings here, or my render properties settings here, and turn on smooth normals. And what that does is it will look at these faceted faces here, and if they are within a certain angle threshold of each other, it will render them as a smooth surface. So let me, you know, with smooth normals turned on, let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to run the BPR. You see now that's all nice and smooth in there. But it also will smooth these fibers out here, and sometimes if that's what you want, great. If it's not, what you can do is you can set this per sub object or per subtool. So I'm going to switch to my Fibermesh tool, and then come down to its not its BPR settings, but its display BPR settings. So display properties right here, and then turn off its smooth normals on here. So you notice that it's still on globally over here in render properties, but it's off for the fibers. The cylinder, if we hold Alt and click on it, you see it's still on. If I switch to it, but if I hold Alt and switch to the fibers, you see it's off. So now I should be able to BPR render it, and yeah, you see now it's much smoother in there. It renders faster. It looks pretty darn good. Now, one thing to be aware of is I'm getting fairly serious smoothing out here on the end caps of that thing. So yeah, you have to sacrifice a little bit of that for smoother on the inside, but this looks pretty good. So with that done, what I want to show next, and I would call this the roller with no paint on it. And again, you may want to come up and do a little renaming of things. So yeah, let's do a little of that. Just call that the roller tube, and this one I'll call the actually I just kind of like fibers, so, or we'll call it roller fibers. And then you could go ahead and save this tool out. So just go to my tools here. I think I've already got some paint rollers going. Yeah, so we'll do O2 here. All right, when I come back, I'll show you how to make it look like it has paint on it. And that is a fairly similar process.